Hello, Serious Crew. This is Not So Busy, your podcast producer and Serious Gentleman podcaster. Team Serious would like to announce Serious Property Solutions, a proud sponsor of Team Serious. Serious Property Solutions, or SPS, will buy any house, any condition, any situation. So if you're looking into getting out of your mortgage or simply selling your house quick and you are near or around the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, give them a call at area code 469-609-7368, or you can reach out to them via their Facebook page at facebook.com/Serious Property Solutions and send them a message via FB Messenger or email them at oscar@seriouspropertysolutions.com. We would like to thank SPS for their support and supporting this podcast. Thank you so much. Go check them out. Good morning. We're back at it again with another episode of the Serious Gentleman. Everybody from this panel is a Serious Gentleman. Everybody from this panel is from Team Serious. Good morning, gentlemen. How's everybody doing? How was your Halloween?
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Halloween was good. Kids had fun. Dad got a lot of candy. The kid got a lot of candy.
I was waiting for it. I was like, damn, they got some good candy, huh?
Yeah. No, because of COVID, we only went down like a block, and then we had like a little makeshift pretend trick-or-treating thing around our house where everyone hid behind a door and the girls went around. They're still young, so they don't know.
Right. Well, as tradition, we like to show what everybody's drinking. David, you better not be dehydrating.
I just finished drinking Milo's tea.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Merc? What are you drinking? What you sipping on over there?
Coffee.
Delicious.
Coffee.
What about Twizted? You dehydrating today?
I'm dehydrating today. I had coffee. I just ran out.
I got me just a little Diet Coke, not sponsored. Let's get some announcements out the way, gentlemen. I hope everybody had a safe and wonderful Halloween. I hope everybody got what they wanted, either partied or stayed just safe in general. Got a bunch of candy like we did. I ended up just buying the kids a bunch of candy. I have teenagers and I have one 5-year-old. And she just ran around just picking up candy all over the place because we just put it in different areas of the house. She was happy with that. She's super happy she had a ton of candy. On top of that, Team Series is back on it again with another set of tournaments. We're going to get straight salty with Rainbow Six Siege 5v5 coming up. Don't forget, sign up. The main area to find where you can sign up and where you can pay your fees are teamseriesdfw.com/tournament. You will find all the details there. We are posted on tournament.com and we are posted on Battlefy, but that'll all just redirect you back to our website. Sign up your team. I know we got BSU coming back in, our winners from our last one coming back in hot. Try to get that salt ready. They've been practicing. We're going to be doing some more project with BSU to kind of showcase that team, kind of showcase what they've been through, their experiences and things like that. We ran some 3v3 friendlies Rocket League with UV yesterday evening. Awesome time, had a bunch of fun. It was just to get out there, to get the name rolling again, but we will be coming back with some 3v3 salt with Rocket League. If you're a Rocket League player, come on down, sign up, and play with Team Serious. Another game we're going to start talking about is Counter-Strike Go. Yes, we're trying to get a lot of salt in our lives. We're salt deprived. We need to rise our pressure back up. So if you're Counter-Strike Go player, come on over. We're about to start hosting them tournaments again. It's going to be a 5v5 using Team Serious servers. Sign up, get involved, ! Discord to put you right in the chat. Join the community, get involved, and start getting some salt in your lives. Aside from that, Tombstone is out today, so I'll be throwing the first topic is, and I want to hear everybody's perspective on each individual topic. More than likely one leads to the other, but I want to know what you guys think. First topic, what's up with that Cyberpunk delay? Are you mad? Are you angry? Are you upset? What's up? Talk to me.
I don't really know how to feel about it. Because there's the whole controversy surrounding the crunch they're doing with their employees, working like crazy hours, and I also heard a rumor. I don't know if it's official, but like supposedly, part of the contract was that the developers of the game were going to get a profit of this year's money from CD Projekt Red, and like rumors are circulating that like the delay of the game obviously means less profits, less time to sell the game, so less money for the developers, more money for the actual studio. So I don't know, but at the same time, you want your game to be finished on release. So it's like, who do we believe? Where? I don't know. I'm not as hyped about it as much as other people are. So I think it's going to be a decent game. I think it's going to get review bombed, but I do think it's going to do well sell wise. So I don't know.
What about you, Dave? How do you feel about it?
I haven't really spent any time looking at what's going to be involved in the game. So that's that. But I don't know. For me personally, a lot of games have been kind of overhyped. That's what I feel in. So I don't want to get too like, yes, awesome game. I'm excited, and then at the end there's like, whoopie-doo.
The more hyped a game is, generally the worse it does, to be honest, in this day and age. Like what game was extremely hyped up that did well?
Fallout 76. It's terrible.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, pause.
You said great. Oh, man.
Yeah, you had me there for a second. I was like, wait, whoa. We're going down that road now.
You know how great that game was.
I've heard actual decent things nowadays. But I don't know. I've never touched it.
What do you think about it?
I mean, how long it's been out?
Quite a long time. Hey, if No Man's Sky can do it, anyone can do it. Okay.
You made me throw up. Hold up. What do you think, Twizted? Are you here and are there, or what do you feel about Cyberpunk?
I'm kind of in the middle, I'm just like Dave said, like I'm really hoping this game doesn't fluke, because if it flops, I'm gonna be upset, especially after the delays and everything they're doing. If it flops, it's ruined it for me.
I'm kind of on the same page. I haven't been exclusively following it. I keep reading about it. I think it's being overhyped, which is not a bad thing for sales, especially if the number one thing for their bonuses is to get these copies out, because they are working hard from it. I'd rather them get it right the first time, because I keep referring back to terrible Fallout 76, how it was overhyped. Yeah, I was part of that hype train, got it, and it was completely trash. I don't want anybody to go through that again. So I'd rather them take your time. It's getting too extreme, though. Would I send out a death threat on it? No, because development is hard. You got people trying to adjust it. You got a marketing team, especially when the marketing team is not on the same side as you are, and they're pushing you for a date, and you're like, dude, we're not ready. But they're like, no, if we get it out, everybody gets bonuses. It might be inside information, or it might be just rumors, whatever to the fact, but it is a lot of pressure to develop and push a game. I'd rather them get it right, and fuck it, 2021. I was already expecting a 2021 for real. Like in my mind, I already said they're not going to make it in 2020. Let's go ahead and talk about
that's the question,
2021.
though. Like, is it better to have 5 small delays, or is it better to have one huge delay? You know what I mean? Because I think like they're pissing a lot of people off with the multiple delays. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one right after the other. Like, why don't you just take half the year? Like, if that's the time, I understand. Like you said, development is extremely hard. There's bugs you have to chase down. Once you fix one bug, another bug appears. Like, it's not easy to kind of foresee that, obviously, but I don't know. I feel like they're shooting themselves in the foot with multiple delays.
And you're right. and I think that's a kind of like a disconnect on the teams, because usually the driving force on these releases is a whole other team. So them coming back and saying I'm more for one long delay than to kind of bait you, you know.
Yeah.
That week comes, they're like, oh, by the way, here's another delay. Well, yeah, I mean, it would piss anybody off, but still, I'd rather have a solid product, rather have a working product,
I agree.
than to have just complete trash. I mean, they're gonna overhype it, and we're gonna come back in this conversation, and then all of us are just gonna be like, you know, shaking our heads like, dude, all that for that was trash. You know what I mean?
And like I've said this a couple times to people, and you know, I'm not trying to like talk down on CD Projekt Red, but their one and only achievement is Witcher 3. Like they have one. Granted, I've heard amazing things about the DLCs. I haven't gotten to try the DLCs yet. I heard they're better than most main games, but like, it seems a lot of hype for a studio that's got one real hit under their belt. You know what I mean? We're not talking about a BioWare that's had hit after hit after hit, or
right?
Another studio I can't really get off the top of my head, but Bethesda. You know,
yes.
Like these studios that have reputations, and CD Projekt Red has gotten a huge reputation off of one game. And I'm just like, everyone just needs to slow down on the Cyberpunk game. I'm like, because it might be great, it might be okay, like it might be better on down the road with the DLCs. Who knows? But I don't understand how there's so much hype for that. Maybe it's because Witcher 3 was that good, and that's why it's got so much hype behind it. But
and I'm kind of the same page you are. When I looked at the studio, I'm like, they don't really have too much to say project wise to could speak against. But what they do have, I'm not a Witcher player, so I'm not gonna sit here and downplay a game I have heard nothing but great things about. But I was wondering, I had to look them up for myself. I was like, what are they involved in? What have they done? And I'm just like really surprised how small scale they deploy things. And not to say that isn't an achievement. Witcher 3, from my understanding, is great, I should say. I just never played it. Going into that kind of goes into the next segment that I wanted to talk about, because I know we haven't had Merc on here for a while. What are y'all guys' thoughts, thinks, whatever you want to throw out on Microsoft acquiring Bethesda? Where do we sit on that? What do you think the future is going to bring? Because a lot of people were talking about exclusives. This is their way. This is Microsoft's way to snatching up a big company that owns a lot of good games.
I love it. I think Microsoft is doing, they're playing long-term strat right now. And like, they might not be super successful up front, but this whole Game Pass thing, I don't think people realize how huge it is. Like they are becoming the Netflix of gaming. And what I mean by that is like Netflix is its own company. It's not like partnered with like these big corporations that own channels, and like Hulu is or Disney Plus is. Netflix did their own thing and became this giant thing. Microsoft's their own thing, and they're just throwing money. And Bethesda, having exclusives from Bethesda, that is just gigantic. Like I honestly think it's going to put Sony on their toes and try to really double down on their exclusives. And I always say competition's great. I don't know. I'm hyped about it. I think it was a very, very smart move on them, and congrats to Bethesda because they got paid.
They got paid.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it, Twizted?
I mean, I'm excited for it. I'm excited, just like Merc said, to see what exclusives they got. I kind of want to see Sony fire back and what Sony can do to fire back, just because I know Sony's sitting real pretty with like Spider-Man right now and select games like that. So I'm really more excited to see how they're going to compete back and forth versus just seeing Microsoft just take off with this.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, David? What are your thoughts on Bethesda being acquired by Microsoft?
I don't even know that was a thing. So there we go.
I'm on the same page as Merc on the sense that I don't know if you guys are like super into the Windows 10's experience, one of the tools that they have is you can actually share like family share, kind of like Steam, but you family share Microsoft accounts.
What?
So so if you buy an Xbox Pass, you can share that with different Microsoft accounts. It's part of their Microsoft login. It's called Family Share. It's just exactly like Steam. So one of the things that I thought it was great that kind of lines it up to kind of go on what you were saying, how they have a series of their own products you can follow. So I was excited because literally if I buy, like right now I have the Discord 3-month for free Xbox Pass. So I tied it back over to my Microsoft and then I family shared it so my kids can download the like games like Forza and things like that.
Yeah.
Things that you can't play right now on PC aside from being on the Xbox Pass. Well, so they have that. So you family share your copies, which is I'm already on board because that's what Steam does today, right? So I'm like, high five, and then they got Bethesda. And they're going to say, oh, the next Elder Scrolls is going to be part of that. So then I can share it. So I literally have to buy it once. Now, you can't play it at the same time, which is not a problem.
Not huge.
But sharing that pass and sharing that through your family share with now even more secure titles, I lean more towards a Microsoft than I do Sony. Nothing wrong with Sony. I have nothing bad to say about Sony. And maybe they're catching up on that same side of products, as I know they deployed their own similar pass. I can't think of the name at the moment, but you guys can probably correct me on that.
PlayStation Now or something
to that effect, right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of like the after effect of Microsoft already doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it just off of pure like logical common sense for me, it would be easier for me to own Xbox style products because I already own their controller. Like their controller is Windows 10 native, so I already have their controller. And the only thing I use this for is Rocket League, to be honest with you. But I already have this because it's plug and play, and then the Steam supported out the box. I don't have to do any extra configuration, right? Mm. Everything works off the jump. If I wanted to change the controls for whatever reason, I usually go with default anyways. I don't really use the controller. But that to me makes a lot more sense. Offering this plateau of services, going back to your Netflix comment, where they own everything, like this Netflix exclusive. Like if you want to watch, a X show, Netflix owns that show. So in essence, Microsoft is going to want to deploy that similar channel. To say this is a Microsoft only product. You can only get it with Microsoft. But guess what? You own a Windows 10 box. You can partake into this program. See what I'm saying? Because it all links back. Like the Xbox experience links back to the Microsoft Store, which links back to your Xbox. And I think that workflow is going to make them very successful. Now, granted, we might be in the early stages and they might change something in the near future where it just like completely breaks the system. Because for one, to be honest with you, the only complaint I have right now is the Xbox app needs some work. The Xbox app needs some work. Yeah, I can't join anybody else. For an example, here's a recent scenario. I'm talking about within the last 2 weeks. Myself and Mazur, one of my followers that's always around. Mazur, one of our Team Series own. He got the same pass that I did. We were trying to link up and play Streets of Rage 4. That's a co-op game that exists today on Steam. But we got the free Xbox Pass through Discord since we're a Discord member. We could not, for the life of us, link up and play co-op. And the multiplayer Xbox aspect of it is broken. Now, we went, how we like to do. We got to get on Reddit. What's up, Reddit? Where you at? What's going on? Reddit said the same exact thing. Reddit says this is broken. You're better off just getting on Steam. So if they're going to deter us to say certain things like, it's an awesome thing you can share with your family, but you really can't play online, then that's going to be a deterrent for me to say, why should I get off of Steam? I need people to convince me to get off of Steam. Same thing with Epic. Epic is great at giving you free games. I'll take your free games all day and night, but that launcher is complete trash.
Yeah.
Fix it up. Get the community involved inside of it, because that's one thing that drives Steam, right? Yeah. Workshop.
Yeah, you're right.
Community. Go ahead.
No, it's just like the family share plan. I didn't even know about that. I'm about to be like, yo, who wants to be my cousin? But no, I completely agree. Like the app is definitely needs work. I think it literally just came out of beta. So because I know before because they just raised the price on the Game Pass, and but going even back further to them purchasing Bethesda, they're already going back to Netflix. They're already doing what Netflix did, and they're already going to start making their own content. You know what I mean? It's going to be expensive for them to keep buying up these games. And what we're going to see is, you're saying you want to get away from Steam, and I totally give me a reason to get away from Steam. and I think it's going to be exclusives. I really do. Like they are now. Microsoft, I think, had this plan since before Xbox One even launched, and I think that is the reason why Xbox One did not do as well as PlayStation 5, because they tried to focus on the family aspect of gaming too quickly, and they didn't do enough like groundwork beforehand. And gamers were just like, hey, I just want to game. I don't care about all these like family aspects, social aspects. I just want to game. And now the Game Pass is totally switched. I didn't even know about the family share plan. That's awesome. But like acquiring Bethesda, I would literally buy a console if the next Elder Scrolls was exclusive to that console. I would literally buy a console just for that game. Like that's how huge Elder Scrolls is to, I think, a lot of people. Like I've been playing Elder Scrolls since Morrowind. You know, I've even played the ones before that after I played Morrowind, because that's how much I love those games. But I've always said the driving force behind the console wars and all that is exclusives. And now with the purchase of Bethesda and the Game Pass on PC, they're even going to lock down the PC exclusive market, getting people away from Steam, getting away from people from Epic Launcher, you know, all the other countless launchers that are out there, Battle.net, you know. I honestly feel the biggest driving force in gaming is not graphics, it's not engines, it's exclusives. If you make a good enough game, the game could look like crap, but if the gameplay is fun enough, addicting enough, you're going to play it. You know what I mean? Like PUBG got massively popular. Wait, it's just like, ugh.
Don't make me throw up again.
Exactly. But it was hugely popular, even though it didn't run that well, right. And it looked like it didn't look that great. And it's just when games are that much fun, it's just, and Microsoft, I think, is just, they're playing long-term strats. And like, I think they're going to sneak up on a lot of people. And that Game Pass, yo, they're going to raise it $1 or $2 here, $1 or $2 here, and we're going to already be addicted to it. So no one's going to even care. And then all of a sudden it's going to be $20. And you know, I don't even care because I can play Elder Scrolls 6. And you know what I mean? Like, it's just, they're going to sneak up, man. They already are doing it.
One thing I do like about that, you know, you can get the pass now, but you can also buy the game outright, right?
Yeah.
The pass will give you it so you can kind of try it, kind of get a feel for it. It's kind of like a good sense of, do I want to own this? You don't have to keep the game pass the whole time. So I want to go ahead and get that out the way in case people have those questions later on in the comment section. You can literally still buy the game off the same store.
Mm-hmm.
But what the pass does is just like any other pass, it opens up a wide array of different games. So you can play those on the desktop. But yes, you can still buy the game. Like I own, what was that zombie game that was on Microsoft only? That's before they moved it to Steam. But I own that copy on the store. I can't even think of the name right now, guys. What am I talking about? It's an Xbox.
7? No.
No. It wasn't Resident Evil. It's State of Decay 2.
Oh.
I own that. When that first dropped, it only dropped as a Microsoft exclusive.
I didn't know that.
It later, I think it later finally made it to Steam, but it's a Microsoft game. So I ended up buying it on the store. But you can try it today with the pass. And play it and kind of share it through the family share. You have to create a family group first. I sent a link on the Discord. You have to first create a family group, then attach those emails to it, and then you have to go through a couple steps. But essentially, it's like family share on Steam, where you link up those accounts and then you share that plan out. But one of the big things too, a lot of good things that are coming out from the chat. You're right. Rocket League is now an Epic only exclusive. If you do have the Steam version installed, you're still going to play it off of Steam. But what it does is now makes you kind of do like that Bungie did when Bungie moved over to Steam with Destiny 2, where you had to go to the website and kind of link all your accounts together. So that way you didn't lose your characters and things like that. So that's what Rocket League is doing now. You go to their website, you link up your Xbox account, your PS4 account, your Nintendo account, and your Steam account, and then merges all into one account now, one Epic account. And you, like I said, you still play it on Steam, but it's really now a Rocket League feature, exclusive, right? So same thing with World War Z. The reason why I originally didn't buy it, because I was hyped for that game, because everybody knows on this panel, zombies is my thing. I love zombies. Okay. I was so upset when Epic snatched it out. Literally was already being listed on the Steam store to buy. They didn't put a price on it. And then Epic came in and say, yoink, snatched it right out of Steam. Went straight to Epic. That's when I threw a big old, F you. And then they turned back around a year later and gave it to us for free for those that, I don't know if anybody else got it for free, but they gave it out for free on Epic. So did I play it? Yes, eventually played it. But again, I cannot stand the the Epic launcher because it's so far behind. It reminds me a lot of Origin, where it leaves a lot to be desired. Like there's no community aspect to it. There's no review aspect to it. There's no workshop aspect to it. Now, granted, Steam has been doing this for a very, very long time. I got that. But to me, you need to have these small things like being able to, now they might have improved, but when they first dropped, they didn't even have a refund policy. Now I think they have a refund policy. I still stay away from it. I still claim them free ass games because, hey, who's going to be mad about some free ass games? Not me.
Nah. I just had a horrible experience with the Xbox Game Pass this past week, though. But technically it was my own fault. I was playing Blair Witch. And I've been getting a lot of crap about this because you have to log into the launcher, right? Obviously, to play the games. Then you go into a game and you have to re-log in when you get into the game. Now, I was streaming it, and when that re-log in screen came up, when I first opened the game, I was clicking something over here for stream, clicked right past it. Didn't even see it. You even gave me a warning like, hey, you're not going to be able to save your game unless you log in. And I'm over here looking at stream stuff, clickety, didn't even see it, like clicked right past it on accident. 4.5 hours later, after 4 hours of gameplay, save wasn't there. I saw the autosave thing. I wasn't even paying it. It was my own fault. But at the same time, I was like, all right, well, we're done playing Blair Witch. No more Blair Witch until next year for Halloween. Okay, we're going to do that next year. We'll find out the ending to this game a long, long time from now, everybody.
Stay tuned. Please hold for an important message. But things like that. Now, I get what you're saying about that. I completely agree with it.
Yeah.
But there should be spot checks within that. You don't think like, hey, by the way, if you want to save it now, a little thing comes up.
Yeah.
Can you go ahead and log in? Wouldn't that be kind of nice?
Yeah. No, and like, I'm already logged in on the launcher. Like, why do I have to re-log in when I get into the game? Every single game, because you have to like link it to your Microsoft account. Every single game on the Game Pass, you have to like re-link it. And I'm just like, I'm already logged in. Why do you do this to me? Why? Oh man.
What about your thoughts, Twizted, on the whole sharing, on the whole Microsoft everything? What do you got for us? You got any new insight?
I mean, for me, not much new insight, mainly because, unlike you guys, I really wouldn't have anyone to share those games with. It's really just me. So I think until my little dude's probably a little bit older, I can definitely see the good things about it. But like right now, for me personally, it's just, it's not a good thing, nor is it a bad thing though.
I'll be your cousin.
See the good, and I see the flaws.
I was gonna say I can add you to my family plan.
All right,
we cousins. Everybody in this panel is now cousins.
So I'm saying. I mean, no.
What about you, Dave? What you got on the family share and everything else?
Yeah, like Twizted said, I don't have no friends. Let's just say, put it at that. And just,
oh boy, we went in a whole other thing. You want to talk about it real quick or no?
Not right now.
Oh god damn, thank you my guy. I was gonna say, like, don't start. We got those coming up in December where the mental health streams are gonna do. So that leads up to another thing, because believe it or not, Merc just is on it like that. He's talking he doesn't know what the next subject is. He just talked about Blair Witch. My next topic is, what is the best spooky horror game you played or streamed for October? What was your highlighted game? Why did you like it? Can you recommend it? Would you do it again? And we'll start off with Twizted. We'll move over to Dave, and then we'll end at Merc, and I'll let you know what my favorite is in a minute.
So I'm not going to lie. Due to my moving situation, as you can see, the new house behind me, I ain't really play no scary games this month. Busy month for me. However, I've heard great things about Phasmophobia, and I also really love watching Toon. Visage will be one of those games where if like I want a good scare, it looks like I'm gonna hop on Visage and just enjoy the heck out of that game.
Fair enough. Dave?
Oh, huh. Yeah, I as you guys know, I've been playing a lot of Phasmophobia, but right now that's one of my favorite games. But I kind of feel like I'm hoping that they put more into the game because I don't know, it's getting kind of to that point where it's like, is that it? Kind of boring kind of situation. So I'm hoping they, like I said, they put more into it and make it more enjoyable, more fun, more entertaining per se. Because right now it's just ghost hunting, and it's like, okay, we're done in 5 or 10 minutes, but then you play professional, it's like, oh, it takes 30 minutes or whatever to actually complete the whole mission or objectives. But yeah, right now that's one of my favorite games right now.
I tried Phasmophobia. Great game. Tons of room for potential. Tons of room for potential. It's made by one guy, and I give him all the credit in the world. I'm sure by now he's had to have hired other people. I hope so anyway. But it's definitely a fun game. A lot of room for potential. Visage, my brother was telling me about that game last night, and he's like, you got to play it. So I heard really great things about that. The scariest game I played this month that scared the living crap out of me, Resident Evil 7. I played 4, 5, and 6, and those were great games. I never played 1, 2, and 3. I know that's a travesty. I'm working on it. But 4, 5, and 6, and then 7's a completely different game than those previous Resident Evils. They really focus in on the horror, and it's first person, and the whole game. I highly recommend it because it's like you're literally in a horror movie, but at the same time has enough action in it to keep it entertaining. And I could not recommend that game enough. And it's on the Xbox Game Pass, so it's really easy to pick it up. But man, yeah, I cannot. I actually played Until Dawn, which is a PlayStation exclusive. It was pretty good. Second half kind of threw me off a bit. I was like kind of turned off after that. What else did I play? Phasmophobia. I'm playing Alien Isolation right now, which is very similar to Resident Evil 7, just like in a more sci-fi kind of way. But man, Resident Evil 7 really got me. There's like one scene in particular that just like, there's people in the chat were like, I just fell off my chair. I was like, I thought I had a panic attack. Like, I was just like, that was terrifying. I'm not a scary game guy. So I tell people all the time, I'm a wuss. Like, I will literally run and scream, like, go the other way. And so, yeah, it really got me. I still have nightmares.
That's good to hear. I heard nothing but great things of the latest Resident Evil. I actually didn't pick it up this time around, but I'm definitely going to eventually check it out. My top would be the following in the order that I'm going to shout it out in: Phasmophobia, The Blackout Club, and Sign of Silence. Now, most of those are already in early access, so some of them are super early. Phasmophobia, like I said, you're better off downloading the beta branch than the early access branch is developed. So when you go and download Phasmophobia, go ahead and hit the properties button. And
they just recently caught up to each other.
Yeah.
So
right. So what I've been doing a lot, and we've been kind of doing a lot, we ran more into issues in the regular branch and we did beta, and like Merc just said, they caught up. I still continue to keep the beta because the fixes are being deployed like that on the beta. But definitely great game. One developer. I think it's still one developer. I don't know if he's hired anybody else.
It's crazy.
But room for potential. A lot of the bigger maps like High School and the Asylum, especially the Asylum, easily see 6 to 8 players because that's how massive the map is. Now, can you go online and find people that already kind of did like an algorithm thing, a math, scope it out? Like if you split up your team and do this, yes, you'll find that today already. It's only in early access. There's kind of like a cheat sheet to kind of figure out, because every time I run the Asylum, I die. Most of our team dies because it's that big to cover. So trying to locate the room or the area to get into where that apparition or spirit or phantom or whatever is at is difficult. But I see a ton of potential. It does have VR, great VR experience. So check it out if you haven't already. Support that one developer. Phasmophobia will continue to scare us well into 2021. my
Yeah.
opinion.
I can't wait to
Blackout
see it
Club.
next year.
Right. Now, Blackout Club, probably underrated as hell. A lot of people didn't hear about it, have never heard of it. It was part of, if nobody picked it up, I know I picked it up, part of the Humble Bundle Scare Bundle that they did this year. Okay. It came out last year. This came out in 2019. It kind of has recent bomb mix reviews because it does kind of feel kind of early access. It feels a lot more like Dead by Daylight, objective based. Yeah, it's more objective based, and the end thing goal is to escape the area. So kind of gets that Dead by Daylight vibe. I was never a big Dead by Daylight fan. I did own it when it first dropped into early access. I did play it. I just could never get into it. Everybody says play with friends, this, that, and the other. And I agree. What game isn't great with friends? But I couldn't pick it up and play it by myself. It didn't have the entertainment factor to Dead by Daylight. Granted, I played it before all the updates, before all the latest, and greatest things of the game. So I just had a bad taste of Dead by Daylight. But essentially what you do in this game is you go in and you have set of objectives to complete. You use your phone. You have a smartphone that you use for a flashlight and to like take pictures and record these objectives. You also have this like blind mode where you essentially cover your eyes and you feel a set of essence on the floor, like a track or see certain red spots that you're supposed to get for clues. Essentially, you get these objectives. The more objectives you get are entitled as bonuses. You gain XP. Once you complete the level, you do go back. You can upgrade your gear. You do have like secondary and primary sources you can use within the game, like different tools you can bring with you if you want to, like a hook shot type of scenario, like to be able to get up higher. You can get that and use that. It's not a bad game. It is 4 players. The more people you have in it, the more excited it is. It could be as slow as fast as you want, but definitely give it a look. Blackout Club is worth the look in my opinion. I think it was great. I think it was one of those kind of hidden gems, so to speak, for Halloween. Thanks to Humble Bundle for bringing that bundle up and kind of putting it all together. The next thing that is super early, and this was gifted to me by Dave. Dave found it. David can probably talk a little bit more about it, about the game, because he actually found it and gifted it to me for the stream. And it's Sign of Silence. Super early. Mixed reviews right now. It kind of leaves you wanting more. Again, another one of those, you gotta escape. Either you escape by helicopter or you escape by boat. That type of scenario. It leaves you very confused at the beginning to try to figure out how to acquire these clues. Everything you do makes a ton of freaking noise.
It looks terrifying.
It is terrifying.
I'm looking at images right now. I'm like, nope, nah, I'm good.
It is one of the most terrifying ones that I played this Halloween season because the sound, I'm talking about audio only, dude. It is legit. Like the channel, they got the channels right. They got the sneak up sound on you. The jump scares on there are crazy because you're sitting there waiting and you step on something. You don't realize there was like glass underneath you. You make a ton of noise and then you get snatched up and you die. And it's like, what the hell just happened? So essentially what you do is you go get clues. Either you repair the boat or you get the fuse for the fuse box to kind of lift you up on an elevator to get to the helicopter. Neither of those we were able to accomplish because that thing was difficult as hell, to say the least. Now, granted, Dave and I were the only ones from my friend list that actually owned the game. We were trying to get more people to kind of look at it and kind of, get interested in the game and hopefully play it. Right now, you're hearing kind of like my little overall review. It is super early, too damn early for me as far as early access. Can it get better? Will it get better? Hopefully. I'm hoping for the best for that game, but that game was the one that actually got me scared. Phasmophobia, and it was too easy not to be scared in that game.
It goes the scare factor on Phasmophobia goes by pretty quick.
Yeah.
But the room for potential is definitely there. This Sign of Silence game, I'm definitely putting on a list for next October because it looks terrifying. It looks really, really good.
Is it on Xbox? I don't think any of these are on Xbox, to be honest with you. Phasmophobia is PC. Yeah. Now, anybody that has a console or is more involved in the console will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think all these are PC based.
I believe so, yeah.
I don't think any ones that I mentioned, Phasmophobia
the ones
or
you
the
mentioned,
Blackout.
Yeah.
are Sign of Silence. The ones that Merc mentioned earlier, Resident Evil, Blair
Until
Witch, and all
Dawn.
those. Yeah,
Yeah.
all those are on console. But those were my top. If you haven't checked them out, you had a Steam, go check them out. I think that all deserve their own support in their own aspects. I'm looking forward to Sound of Silence kind of developing further, getting some of the bugs and stuff that Dave and I ran into kind of figured out. But it leaves a lot to be desired because it kind of throw you in with nothing to understand what you're supposed to do. We had to legit go like research it real fast. What are we supposed to do? Because we just kept dying. Like, are we supposed to find something, or we're supposed to get something? And that's what you find out. Like, oh, gotta go get clues to freaking get this or that working.
I think that was like the draw to Phasmophobia too. Was like you go in and like, you know, it became quick because you had a lot of people play it. It blew up on Twitch like hardcore, and then like everybody was kind of getting the gist of it. But when you first jump in there, you have no idea what you're doing. Like you walk in there, and you're just like, oh, I gotta figure out where the ghost is. Okay, I guess like they kind of gave you a tutorial at the beginning, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm excited to see where that goes next year. By the time October hits next year, because he seemed to do quite a bit of work on it for being one guy. Like he was doing work on it this month. Like, I don't know, a lot of potential. I'm excited to see Sign of Silence. I'm definitely gonna check that out.
With that being said, we're gonna go into more of our tech side of it. We're gonna do our tech talk real quick because we got Merc. I like talking to all these gentlemen, but when we got Merc, we get a different perspective. I like his perspective, and we get comments against his perspective. The other person that we always get comments by, but because of the way he comments, is Flap, just because he's out there. First and foremost, leave the fanboyism at the door. I don't want to hear any of that crap because we're about to get into some brands.
Neutral, baby.
Stay neutral, stay salty. I don't buy this for y'all. Y'all can buy whatever the hell you want. iPhone 12 release. Where do we stand with this?
Oh, that I actually don't know a whole lot about. That like they don't have a charger block anymore, right? Isn't that like the biggest like moment like right now? They don't include a charger block. Like I'm of the thing. I'm like, yo, I've been an iPhone user for quite a while now. You know how many of those damn charger blocks I got around my house? Like, I haven't actually seen a whole lot about it. I'm not into the phone world as much as other people are because I just am a blind sheep when it comes to my iPhone.
You said it. I didn't say it.
Yeah, no, I am. Well, honestly, the last time I used an Android, and here's the okay. So see, now you're giving me all right. Now I'm getting fuel in the fire. All right. So the thing about the phones is iPhone. I'm gonna get some flack for this. iPhones is software. Android, I will never doubt. Android's got the hardware. Android phones, the hardware is there. iPhones. To me, I use an iPhone for the software. I use it for the apps. I use it for I just feel like everything runs better. Last time I had an Android, after like 6 months, 8 months, apps just started force closing. And I honestly believe it's because there's so many different phones that run on the Android software. Not everything's going to mesh perfectly well. iPhone, say what you will about it, but it's the same hardware in each and every iPhone. Like the apps are going to work solidly for that iPhone, and that's always been where I was at. Like when I have tried Androids before, and I just haven't had the best maybe luck with them, with apps that I normally use. And then I don't know. I'm also the type of guy that doesn't update anything until something's broken. Like
you actually understand the baseline. And you said it well, so I have to pay respect where respect is due. The reason why iPhone runs as well as it does, and I think you heard this VOD before, is when you lock the hardware, you can improve on the software.
Yep.
And Android, I'm an Android user, but I'm not one of those I'm gonna push it down your throat. I'm just I like proponent and leader of the free world. Android is an operating system that can be slapped on any hardware.
Exactly.
Okay, with that being said, because you can slap an operating, it's like Windows, it's like Linux, right? You can take any piece of hardware that's PC related and you can slap a Linux distro onto it, right? Does that mean it's going to run optimal? Does it mean it's going to run at its best? No, but does it run? Did you have to go get new hardware for it to run? No, you didn't. So one of the things that Android does, it is an OS, but it can be slapped on everything. Now, not everybody's QA is on the same page. Yeah. Not everybody's QA is going to be like, top notch in the sense that they locked it down to one Samsung device and they only do testing for that Samsung device. It's an operating system that can be slapped on anything. You're going to run into issues. What you run into one phone, you're not going to run into the other phone. There's such thing as budget phones versus premium phones. There's a huge concept of that, and the way that the software works inside of it as well is different. Like the way Snapchat works to iPhone, the way Snapchat works to Android are two different elements, two different written codes, two different ways to call services. That's the reason why you run more issues. If you want to say more issues onto Android, I've been on the same Samsung lineup for years, and I don't have the same type of issues that I read about. Now, does this say that those issues aren't, legit? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I lock myself down to a brand, to a series of phones, so I will limit my issues.
And that's the smart thing to do if you are an Android user. I was going to say, like, do you, like my job, we have an app, and you know how hard it is to like update your app on the iPhone store, because they have to check it, and like they go through some like thorough, I don't even know the whole process of it, but it can take weeks to get like an update approved. I don't know how it is on Android, but I just know on iPhone it is such a pain in the ass to update an app or to even get it up on the store in general.
Well, that's why I'm saying I'm the proponent of the free world. You build your own packages or APKs.
Yeah,
you can deploy it to your phone. It doesn't necessarily have to come from the store. Now, the store gives you more of a validation, a central repository to get reviews, get community feedback. But what the Android does is I can build my own pack and put it on. So just an example, put it on Google Drive and put it on my website. You have to enable an option to quote unquote receive unsecure installs.
Yeah.
But essentially, I can build a app outside of the store. Now, the reason why they don't want you to go outside of the store is because you could get some malware, get some viruses and things of that sort.
And that's the biggest problem I've read about with Androids.
Yeah, right. So the thing the store would do is kind of legitimize you in that aspect. But I do like the fact that I can build my own package, my own application outside of the store without any need. On top of the cost, it costs a lot of money to deploy an application through just licensing through Apple versus what the developer account over on Android is. It's literally $25 for one account versus monthly costs on the Apple side. So it's like pros and cons. That's why you see a lot of these third-party applications straight go into Android because they're not as restricted. Now, with that being said, is it a worse product? Not necessarily. It's two different languages, right?
It all depends on what you use a phone for.
Exactly.
You know? Exactly.
So where do we stand
playing Clash Royale, like you know.
Where do we stand there, Twizted and Dave? What do y'all got?
So I mean, just based off of the Android versus Apple, I mean, it's a lot easier on Android as far as APKs go. iPhones, I know there are similar ways to do the same thing. However, it all requires all requires iTunes. If you don't have iTunes, it's not going to work because you're not a quote unquote verified party through Apple. Looking at the 12 though, just off the rip, I'm not a fan. They went back to like that flat iPhone 5 look, which I can't stand. And then the fact that they switched to USB-C, I don't like it. I rather the look of the iPhone 11 like I have, but like iPhone 5 and how just bulky and square it looked, it just kind of looked like a brick. I was not a fan of it. Like I didn't know much about it, so I kind of just pulled it up as Merc, you were talking.
Damn, I should have did the same. iPhone 12.
It looks like they keep taking things away from the Apple users. I feel so bad. They're like, here, no more 3.5 millimeter, and everybody's like, cool, I use Bluetooth anyways, and I'm like, well, I'm not gonna say anything. That's up to y'all. I'm not buying your devices, but that to me is like a no-go. Like I still like my 3.5 millimeter. But anyways, and then they're like, "Oh, by the way, now we're taking you're not including a charger." I'm like, "How much shit are you gonna take away from these people that still charge them a premium price?" Like, granted, you said you have a lot of chargers. Like me, I have a ton of Samsung chargers. I have a ton of mainly wireless. Like I have these like wireless docks that I keep. Like I keep my phone on a wireless dock.
See, that's
so I've had that since forever, since they deployed a wireless charging on Samsung devices. I've had docks, but.
I won't lie, like those things are annoying. Like the lack of charger block when they took the headphone jack out. Like I'm not gonna lie, like those things are definitely annoying. Like I you know how many headphones I have that like are obsolete now? Because that's the only thing I use like those tiny little headphone like things for. And granted, it does come with a pair of headphones that you can use, but those things definitely are annoying. I'm not gonna say they're not. It's just I have had iPhones for so long now, and I just know it would be a whole different change. And I've thought about it several times. I've thought about trying Android again, because when I tried Android, it was at like its infancy. It was a long time ago.
I was gonna say it sounds like you were way in the early stages.
Yeah, no, I probably had one of the first Androids. Like it was a long time ago. So that's why I know there's pros and cons to both sides. There's no doubt about it. But I'm also a simple man when it comes to my phone. I'm like, I play like one game, I text, I go on social medias. That's it.
Well, for me, a lot of it too is just like you said, the minor changes. Like when iPhone first switched from having like no auxiliary ports and giving you the little lightning piece with the auxiliary port attached, just consistently swapping out those small pieces. And just like you, I haven't used Android since 2011, 2012-ish, maybe even before. So I'm interested to bear the waters again, especially with the new S20 that came out. Seeing I have heard great things about that, and I might get back into the whole black market app store stuff.
I don't want no malware.
Here we go. Settle down there. Dave, where you at? You've been quiet, Dave. Come on, proponent of the free world.
Okay, so I'm, like you said, I'm just going to basically go for it. I've always been an Android person. And for the past maybe 10 years in my career or job, I've always supported iPhones. And I guess I'm going to go ahead and say it anyway. It's been kind of a pain in the butt to manage them. And it doesn't really help that at work we don't have a device management software or hardware wise. It was just kind of like, okay, here's a phone. Everybody's going to use an iPhone. But
bring back Bez.
We don't have any management for it, which, like I said, doesn't help us out on the long run. So basically things like, I don't know where that time frame where the batteries on the iPhones were having a lot of like heating problems, or they were going like the recall era where they had to replace the batteries on the iPhones. There's that situation. And then there was old users that still had iPhones like 8 and they never upgraded. So in order to upgrade, you had to do like a backup to the iCloud. And in order to do that, you have to update your iOS. And now you can't update your iOS because not enough internal storage. It's like you're at a stopping point. What do you have to do now? Oh, you're forced to upgrade to a newer phone. And those kind of things kind of piss me off quite a bit because you're not really being like
productive in that sense,
and helping your users or your actual active people that are using your phones. You're just kind of basically kind of forcing them to upgrade, and all you want basically is their money at the end point. So I ran into that situation a lot at work, and then also I don't know when I think it was 2018 when the new MacBooks came out, where you can kind of have to like the touch screen that was on the front, that for like emojis and stuff like that.
Yes, I remember that.
When that came out, like our CEO basically said, "I want that," right? So when I went to the Genius bar and I went to go buy it, and just stepping in the Genius bar, I felt like this is not my place. I'm gonna get my ass kicked. So I want to go buy it, installed it, and obviously it was really early in time to actually go buy that stuff because there was no docking stations for it. And if there was docking stations for it, there were like third-party vendors for those docks. and like the USB-Cs and stuff like that, it just came a big like hassle for me to manage. Because it did have like, oh, it's compatible with this MacBook, but this may not work, and it's kind of like, okay, I'm stuck. So it really didn't help me on my job. So I don't know. To manage it just has been a pain in the butt. I also ran into an issue with my dad's because his iCloud basically account got hacked, and we tried to call the Apple store, and they basically said, oh, we can't really do anything about it. And again, we had to go buy another phone for my dad, spend like maybe $800 or whatever. But I told my dad, let's stay away from Apple.
Yeah, after that kind of experience, yeah.
I don't want to go through that.
Hell
but
no.
it may be the same situation. Like, let's say it was just 100% Android at my workplace. It may still be the same situation because a lot of users, they're like, oh, all I want to use this phone is just to make calls and take pictures and back up to the iCloud. And 100% of the time, a lot of users, they don't remember their iCloud ID. Or they're like, oh, what is that? And it's like, oh, I got to go to sign up again, reset the password. It's
There's nothing worse than finding out like that you have to support phones. I did the same thing Dave did. I was the enterprise administrator for when we had BES, we had BlackBerry Enterprise server. That's how you manage all your BlackBerry. And to bring back the BlackBerry, I'm a proponent of it because it has so great device management. Anytime anybody can get fired, I can hit from BES to wipe their phone and lock it out of them, so they return the asset back to the company. That's how good it was at managing devices.
Wow.
I was a big proponent of BlackBerry. I still like BlackBerry. Now, BES still evolved and still moved forward into the enterprise for device management. Not everybody wanted to pay the licensing because at one point, BlackBerries ran all corporate. I don't care who you are. It ran the Army. It ran all of where I worked as an employer. I supported thousands and thousands of devices. But then that's when you start. That's when you start finding out people and how they treat their phones, especially when it's not their phone, and how much they don't know about their own phones that they're carrying, that they don't care to learn. Because a lot of the times, like Dave said, you don't know how many password resets I would have to do because they would forget their PIN on their phone, or they would forget their BES account. And I'm just like, I don't use your phone. They're like asking me, what's my password? I don't know what your password is. I'm about to reset it. Like, why would I know your password? Well, don't you support it? I don't support that. I support the device. You're still supposed to remember your credentials. It's worse when you get to that level, you know?
Yeah. Shout out to the BlackBerry Storm.
Yeah.
I love that phone. That was my first touchscreen phone.
But if there, and we kind of did the same thing at work where we finally got rid of all of our BlackBerry. We went with a mix of Android devices and a mix of iPhone devices. You get to choose what service you want. We carry all four major services. You just want to tell them what you want, what iPhone color you want or what Android, the top Android that we do carry is Samsung, that they more lean to Samsung because, again, those same issues that I was discussing earlier, you kind of limit the issues. Samsungs to me have always been great for the years that I've ran them. But going back and then managing that device, like Good Client, Dave, did y'all use Good Client to manage the devices or no?
No.
So we had Good Client, which is terrible, by the way, nowhere near BES. And then again, the same thing is they would call you, I don't know my iCloud password. That's you. That's your personal thing. Like, I can't help you with that. Like, you need to call somebody else. I can't help you with that. And then going through the headaches that literally, like, the percentage was like 70% more iPhone users would call me than Android users. I didn't have to worry about my Android users. Same thing that Dave is basically explaining, like iPhone users don't really care to learn their phone or much less remember their credentials to something that they glued it to the phone. Like, they created their own personal iCloud account with their own personal password, with their own security, and they expect me to know their credentials.
I just want to play Clash Royale and go on my Twitter, bro. Like, you expect me to remember my password and username? Come on now. Like, what are you doing over here? Like,
that's why I'm on the proponent, like, buy whatever the hell you want, because I don't even want to tell you what I used to support back in my role. I did that for 10 years. And I don't care. People are over here bickering at each other. It's like, bro, let me tell you about what I used to support. Okay. I feel bad for the Apple people that get these calls for like simple issues. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's worse than that because, like, even when the Apple support gets those calls from people with their issue, their first question is, "You got Apple support?" Nope, we ain't talking to you. Good luck.
Yeah, that's how bad it is.
Oh, is that like a separate service thing?
It's
Yes.
See, this is how much I know about my phone and service.
Yeah. Same thing with us. Like our devices, when we get them, even now, if I want to upgrade, I always have the choice to upgrade because my phone's paid by my company and everything. So they can still force me. Like if they decide the contracts change and I'll be like, hey guys, I got an iPhone. It's because my company forced me because they pay my bill and everything.
Oh, okay.
They send me a device. So, that's why I'm like, I'm happy that I'm still Samsung for now.
Yeah.
But anytime the contract can change, they said, no, everybody's going to iPhone. So then I'll be like, hey guys, I got the latest iPhone, whatever that time may be. If in turn they decide to do that, then that's the only time that I would own an iPhone again, because they literally pay for my line. They pay for my bill. They pay for my upgrades. Right.
Yeah.
They just overnight me a phone. They're like, here's your new phone. You keep the same number, this, that, and the other. But that's my employer.
Yeah, that's
but
awesome.
going back to kind of that support structure, the first thing they always tell us when they're getting a phone, if you're going to get an iPhone, we're do not pay for that extra insurance. That's what they tell them. Going back to Twisted's point, so then therefore our call center always gets the call. I'm not a part of the call center, but I keep hearing, I still have friends over there that keep saying, bro, you know how many times iPhone users call me on simple issues? Like, I can't help you.
Well, see, and that's the one thing. I'm actually bringing up more points that I'm getting annoyed with Apple about, is because like I think the iPhone I actually had before this, I think it was like an 8 or 9. Dave actually mentioned it, the one with the battery issue, because I actually ended up replacing my own battery because like I like to think I'm a little tech savvy, and so. And plus, I always wanted to just see an inside of an iPhone. Apparently, like these newer ones are like impossible to. I don't know if they're impossible to repair yourself or anymore, because I remember there being stations like, "Hey, you can get your screen replaced or your battery replaced." Like I remember little kiosks in the mall that did it for like $50, $100. And I actually ended up doing it myself. And I've heard that these later versions you can't even do that anymore. And that's another thing that's been kind of annoying to me, is like, if I want to repair my own stuff, I want to repair my own stuff. And it kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier, not so if with software wise, if you want to make a whole package for the phone, then you can go ahead and do that with Android. Like iPhone just seems to be kind of just cutting out their consumer base more and more and more and more. Like, hey, you have to use our brand of headphones. You have to get your own charger. I don't know. It is getting more and more annoying to be an iPhone user. It really, really is. And like I said, before I even upgraded to this one, I was thinking about switching to something. I don't know. I've always been intrigued about the Pixel, but now I'm hearing bad things about the Pixel. I don't really know. I'm not into the phone world as much as I probably should be.
It's all up to preference and what you read and what you research. I would always tell people that, use what you like, buy what you like. I'm not sitting here making you choose. I'm not about a versus war. If you want to be informed, come talk. Let's talk Google Pixel. Let's talk Samsung lineup S phones. Let's talk about Note lineup. Let's talk about all that good stuff. And then you make your own informed decision of what you would want to buy. That's all I'm saying. Stay informed. But to stay with the line of series, it kind of seems to me from the outside getting screwed over. Doesn't matter how good the software is. It's like they keep taking you things away from you and telling you, hey, here it is, buy it or buy it. That's basically what I get out of it. And like I said, I'm a proponent of the free world. I don't want to be like that. Now you can say, you can call me Android sheep all you want and things like that, but I do work in a development group, and I do like the fact that I have that flexibility to drop my own app into my own phone, because that's just the way Android works. Now, with that being said,
monitor mount.
Yeah.
What was it? How much was that monitor mount? Like that was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
Oh.
How much was it? I don't even remember.
I don't know, like $1,000 or something.
Yeah, I wanted to say it was $1,000 monitor mount, and I'm just like, what? Like, what are you thinking?
All right, we got 2 remaining subjects that are hit on the same category for End Our Tech Talks, and then I'll give everybody their time back. Talk to me. 3070 just released. Probably nobody got their hands on it. And RX 6000 by AMD announcement. Where do we sit? I'll start off with Dave. Go over to Twizted, go to Merc, and then we'll end with myself. What do you think about the 3070? Do you think anything good about it, Dave? What are your thoughts?
I don't know much about the 3070, but what I do know is I'm gonna get the 6800 XT. Just because it's not just cheaper, but it either performs better than the 3070s or 3080s or whatever they're gonna come out or are already out. I don't know much. I haven't really kept up to technology, but besides, I've always been an AMD fan, so I said, okay, it's AMD. I'm gonna pay attention to it. I'm gonna actually see what's going on. So just with, like I said, it's cheaper, and if it's gonna outperform the 3070s or 3080s, no matter at 1080p or 4K, I'm going with the 6800 XT. But yeah.
What about you, Twizted? Where you sit with that?
I think right now I'm staying with the 3000 series. I'm going 3080, 3070s right now. Just because I personally don't know too much about the 6000 series just yet. I have heard they are cheaper, but it's a matter for me of who's going to perform better. Overall. So until I can dig a little deeper myself, then my decision will be solidified. But as of right now, I'm sticking with the 3070.
I think the reason AMD's problem with their GPUs have always been their drivers, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, obviously the GPUs, like, they're now just hitting like the same FPS supposedly as the 3000 series, like the 6800 series. I don't know the exact numbers on them, but the numbers look good. It's just the problem I've always heard about AMD's GPUs is drivers. I've always heard that like they crash, games crash. I don't know. I've never used them. I'm relatively newer to PC gaming. I'm using a 2080 now, and I've always thought that I kind of got gypped, and I don't feel like my 2080 is an actual 2080. But I don't know. Like the 3000 series looks good to me, you know, for the price point that they have it at and the performance that they supposedly have. Even though they did kind of fib on the numbers of their 3000 series a bit. Like quite a bit as far as I saw, but I don't know. I would love to AMD for them to kind of. I've heard that they're full throttle fixing driver issues, so you know I have heard that, and I would love to use one of their GPUs just because I use their CPU as well, and I always say competition's always best. You know, it's going to drive prices down for us and performance even higher. So it's just. I think it's a good thing. I think that they are competing, and I would love to see them. I would love to see them go over NVIDIA, to be honest with you, because then NVIDIA is going to get a fire under them and be like, "Hey, let's get it going." You know what I mean? And I don't know. I'll probably skip this generation because, like I said, I have a 2080. I might go for the next generation. I don't know. I like the 3090 Ti or 3080 Ti, whatever they do, because they're going to do something like that in like 6 months, and it's going to be annoying for all of us. And but I also think I do think that they're downplaying the supply of these GPUs. I don't think we're going to be able to get our hands on a lot of 30 series cards even into next year. I think COVID's got everything backed up a lot more than what people think. And I think it's going to be really, really hard to get them at retail price. I think we're like, the price looks good and everything, but no one's talking about if we're actually going to be able to get them at that price. Because I think the bots are going to be snatching them up left and right. And I also heard they're very good for mining as well. So that's another supply chain issue. If like people are grabbing them up, picking them up for cryptocurrency mining, then that's going to be a whole nother issue in itself. That I feel like it's all reminiscent of the 10 series, right? Like it didn't a big thing happen in the 10 series like that. Yeah. So I just feel like it's kind of history repeating itself all over again. And it's weird too, because I don't think anybody's talking about that. And I'm just like seeing it in my head. I'm like, the 3080 got like sold out in what? Like less than 5 minutes. Like they went on sale and they were gone. Literally sold out within like 2 minutes. I don't even know the exact number. I just remember no one I knew got one. Unless not. So did you get one?
No. So going back to what you were saying, I think the biggest proponent. So I'm always, for those of you that kept up with us and know that I'm a big proponent of the underdog. I'm going to root AMD. I'm going to root AMD because of competition. I'm going to root AMD because they've been the underdog for so long that they finally got their act together. It is nostalgia. It's like early 2000 when AMD was king, with both not only CPU but ATI before they bought them out. ATI kicking NVIDIA's ass. So going back, I think the biggest thing here would lead down again to brand loyalty. Same thing we discussed with our phones. The problem is I don't think anyone could get a hold of any of the RTX cards. And that's going to be a problem. Mm-hmm. We're going to have to see AMD's response to their production of their stuff. Because if you can get 5,000 series CPUs and partner up with a 6800 XT faster than you can get any RTX card, I think that's going to be a fall for NVIDIA. But again, I'm still rooting for the underdog. Now, I'm coming back to kind of some of the points. I'm going back to some of the points that you kind of said earlier. AMD, because it is a smaller company and it is doing two things. I need you people to understand that. It's doing CPUs and GPUs. Intel is doing CPUs and ARM. They really lead the CPU front. NVIDIA is only doing GPUs. So NVIDIA only does GPUs. They're getting into other aspects that bought other companies. They're starting to get, play in other areas. But I need you to understand that NVIDIA focus is GPU. AMD's focus is both. Okay,
that's a very good point.
Even reason more to root for the underdog, in my opinion. That's what I always do.
It's a very good point.
AMD had some driver issues that now circulate so much around that's the first talking point of trying to downgrade the brand.
Why you gotta call me out like that? You will always hear driver issues, but everybody so fast to forget that NVIDIA just went through a shitload of driver issues with their RTX cards. You're right. I experienced some of those myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying be informed, always be informed, always go back and forth, do your research, because I've had several issues with NVIDIA cards on driver related issues, on cooling related issues, because they used to run hot. They run hot now.
Yeah.
One thing that they always did with the Vega series was talk about how much power consumption AMD cards took, but let NVIDIA do that, and nobody's talking about that. I'm not okay with average being 320 to 350 watts from the card. They gave so much shit for the Vega series 56 that ran 320 and 64. Why aren't we doing that for NVIDIA? You see what I'm saying? How we build that brand loyalty and we drag him through the mud. Talk about AMD any quick and remember Vega series real quick. If not, look up articles. 300 and something watts to TDP 250 from the NVIDIA side, Turing cards, right? But let Ampere do that. Ampere's pushing well over unlocked BIOSes of 450 and nobody's batting an eye. Everybody's, oh, cool, NVIDIA's top dog. We will let them suck a whole power supply, 800 watts full. But we're okay with that. But let AMD do that. That would have been your next con. They run hot, they consume too much power, and they have driver issues. Those are the three cons you always hear for AMD. NVIDIA just went through that, and yet nobody bats an eye. You see what I'm saying? Like, I can't stand that. Be informed, be decisive, do your research. Now, one reason that I would say two things right now that RTX cards have going for them, not to say that AMD cards can't go into it. RTX itself is not a locked-in technology. It's ray tracing. It can perform in games. It's the way you read that is a bonus right now for RTX, for NVIDIA. 6800 and all the 6000 series have a proponent to read the stuff that isn't proprietary code. They're able to do the same thing. However, because the games have been built for RTX, the code has been written essentially for that card, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
It makes complete sense. Yeah.
So AMD cannot read the same proprietary code. However, they have the same capabilities. So now AMD saying, let that technology be more of a free source, open source, and a normal standard so that we can compete in the same spectrum, because we can't necessarily take the same code to write lighting for an RTX card when we can do the same thing, but we just can't read that code. So that's one thing. Second thing that I will give props for NVIDIA for, their codec. The codec is straight fire for any streamers that have an older machine that want to offload it to their GPU. I will give props where props is due. AMD In the past, with their older RX series, that piece was broken. Do they have their own encoder? Yes, but they needed to fix that encoding. There's several YouTube videos where you can see where the codec was broken on their older cards.
Do you know what that's called? The codec that they use?
They use I already forgot the name.
Because NVINC has been a saving grace for me.
Yeah, NVINC has been a saving grace. I can guarantee I am on the same page when it comes to that. I forgot what I can't right now. I can't remember. But essentially, they have the same thing. It's on they're the same way. It's red. It has its own encoder on the card. However, OBS had issues with it, calling it back and forth. Now, granted, I'm talking about older series. I'm talking about like RX 580, 590. I don't know if they fixed it on the 5000 series RX cards. Going forward, that was one thing that NVIDIA did have. The NVENC codec is straight fire. I would always recommend the NVENC codec.
The new one. The old one was buggy. The old one was
bugging as hell, but the Ampere, the 2000 and above, straight fire.
Yeah.
The 3000 just adds on to that. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I would give bonus for. But another thing that AMD likes to do is to even out the playing field as far as pricing. Back in the day, the same series cars might have cost us $250, $300 tops. Top tier would have been maybe $350. AMD's coming in and says, I can give you the same performance. This is what they did back in the day with their cards. And level the playing field by saying, oh, you want 4K gaming? We're going to give it to you at $400 or $500 for 4K gaming. So we need them to come out and even the prices out, because even some of these cards you're looking at, $1,000, $1,200, $1,500, and some of them might be fine paying for that. But I'm like, to me, that's like a whole new fucking system.
Yeah.
Like, why would I buy just one video card $1,500 worth when in a few years, 3-4 years down the line, I will have to upgrade, because that's just the way technology works. I wait for a sale, I wait for a Black Friday sale, and I try to pick it up as cheap as I can, because I know at the end of the day I'm never going to be able to resell it for the same value that I bought it for. And more likely, I'll just hand it off to one of my kids or hand it off down the line to somebody that may need it, because I never resell the stuff. You might say that's maybe a negative. I don't see it as a negative, because I can never literally get what I paid for that card once I have it installed it, and used. You see what I'm saying? So that's where I stand with both AMD and NVIDIA. I love competition. I love AMD coming up, but I don't like the stigmas that automatically associated with the brand when the same brand just went through it and nobody bats an eye. Yeah. So let's talk about the driver issues NVIDIA just had with the 3000 series. Let's talk about the power issues that NVIDIA had with the 3000 series, to where they have to release new BIOSes to address these issues. Let's talk about the unlocked BIOS that you can do on an EVGA up to 450 watt. Why is nobody batting an eye? Is everybody all of a sudden okay upgrading your power supplies? I run A50s. I've always future planned for things like this, because I knew that GPUs will suck out most power from your system. But NVIDIA does it and everybody's okay with it. No, I'm going to go ahead and say, no, I'm not okay with it. I'm not okay for my card taking up 350 watts while it's just chilling right here.
No, I feel you. So if you had to pick one, 3080 or 6800 XT right now, what are you picking?
Probably I'll lean more to the 6800 XT. Just based on being the underdog and the price per performance. And I'm not really missing out on anything aside from ray tracing specific games that are coded for RTX. But then again, remember, I run a second setup, so I don't have to worry about an NVENC encoder. I don't have to worry about a GPU encoder. I run a whole other CPU that does X264 based on that. Now, somebody else down the line says I only run one PC. We all can't be like Dave, run 3900Xs. He might say, I want that GPU because I am still stressing out my CPU because I have 12 core, 24 threads to stream. I want that extra, ability to be able to hand it off to NVENC encoder.
Yeah. No, had to call out those driver issues right away. I had to do it.
But the green dudes just went through it,
Yeah, no, I get it. Like I've had tons of driver issues, but at the same time, I've always kind of explained that away to myself, because I am one of those people that use the new NVENC encoder. And so my thought process is whenever I've run into those driver issues with NVIDIA, I'm like, well, is it only because I'm using the NVENC encoder, so I'm pushing my GPU a little bit harder than everybody else is? Is that why I'm having issues? Because the only games I would ever have issues with were BRs. battle royales. Like every single time Apex came out, Warzone came out.
I remember
every
Apex issues you
single
had.
every single BR that came out, I could not ever stream that. And eventually they became fine. I don't know if it was driver issues. I don't know. I have no idea what it was, but I could never stream any BRs when they first came out. And it was very, very annoying. That was probably the Apex was really bad.
I remember that.
Yeah.
You told me, you're like, dude, what the hell? Like, Apex is just terrible. I'm like, dude, it is Apex 2.
It's so frustrating. It was just frustrating because, and it happened with Warzone too. Like, people with similar rigs or less powerful rigs than mine were streaming it fine. And I'm just like, why am I having these issues when, like, that person over there running their 2070 or 1080 or running it fine? Like, why the hell am I having these issues? I felt like I was cursed. I still feel cursed. I want to get a second PC just so I can be done with this thing.
Proponent of the free world, man. Mix and match hardware where all of us might run good or all of us might run trash.
Yeah.
Even though you went with good brands and you did your research and things like that, I was like, there's no reason why I'm having this issue when literally you have a pre-built with like an i5 that you're running this game better than I am right now.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm just like, what did I do?
Yeah.
I remember like even taking apart the whole PC, putting it back together again. I'm like, no, I was desperate. I really was. I was just rolling back drivers, rolling back anything I could. I just
remember that. You calling me out, be like, dude, what's going on? I'm like, man, it's Apex, dude. It's not you.
Yo, I won't lie. Anytime I get desperate, I hit you up. I'm like, I can't figure this out, not so. Like, give me some words of advice, please.
Yeah. With that being said, I appreciate everybody's time. We're gonna go around the horn. Last comments. Where can we check you out? We'll start out with Dave. Go over to Twizted. Go over to Merc, and then we'll end this outstanding podcast. David, where can we find you? What are your last comments?
Yeah. Well, not really a lot of comments to say. Well, I mean, I was kind of thinking about it a few minutes ago. It's like I'm still running a 1070, so either I go with the 6800 XT, or I just say, okay, I don't really need that much of improvement from what I currently have, a 1070. If it comes to where the 2070s are like $200 cheaper or $100 cheaper than what they are, and they perform well enough, I'll probably go still with a 2070 instead of upgrading all the way up, because in reality I don't need to run 4K. I don't have a 4K monitor, and 1070 games right now that I'm running fine on the 1070. So it's like I don't really need an upgrade, but I do want to upgrade.
Do it.
Yeah. Well, I might just do it because I have the 3900X. So
there you go.
But yeah, you can pretty much follow me on my social media on twitter.com/ViciousDave31K. My Twitch channel is also ViciousDave31K.
I'm going big or going home. That's what I'm doing. I'm jumping from my 1060 Ti, and we're either going to go hit the 3080, or if AMD turns out to be what Natso says it's going to be, or that they should become, we might have to take that route as well. Just kind of test the waters there, change it up a bit. Other than that, though, you can find me in Discord, both Team Serious and United Vindication. Last thing I want, don't forget, December is coming up. Big month for both teams in December with our mental health streams coming. So don't forget to tune in for that. Make sure you keep in tabs. And then, find me on Twitch, Twizted_XO.
Well, I'm going to build a second PC before I even think about upgrading my GPU. I need to get this offloaded. That's what the Nodso has suggested. So I'm going to follow his advice. And, but you can find me on twitch.tv/Merc_show. Same thing with Twitter and Instagram. You'll find me just wandering around Twitch saying hi to everybody, but stream all sorts of days. But thank you again for Team Serious and Notso for having us on and being able to talk this morning. It was good stuff.
Thank you, gentlemen, for your time. I appreciate always having these conversations with y'all. I like everybody's insight. I like everybody's way of thinking. As Twizted mentioned, we will be running December 11th to the 13th a mental health awareness team brought to you by United Vindication and Team Serious, partnering up together with Club Kiwi and Rage Zone to bring you a good mental health series, a whole series of it, podcasts for offline consumption, YouTube videos for offline consumption, and a bunch of live streams via all kinds of Twitch channels. We're going to showcase those members via their own specific channels, but we're also going to be hosting them on everything Team Serious, on everything United Vindication. So stick with us, stand by. There will be more information coming in, and if you want to be involved, go ahead and shoot us a DM. You can shoot me a DM on Discord or Twitter. You can find me all over the place. Let me know if you want to get involved. With that being said, everybody from this panel is from Team Serious. Everybody from the panel is a serious gentleman. Hope everybody has a safe and wonderful work week. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Practice social distancing. I want to see every single one of you back next Sunday, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned for 1 p.m. Central Standard Time with Savory Sage Rage. She's about to get thrown down in the kitchen. Aside from that, remember, stay serious. See you next week.
Bye.
Hello, Serious Crew. This is Not So Busy, your podcast producer and Serious Gentleman podcaster. Team Serious would like to announce Serious Property Solutions, a proud sponsor of Team Serious. Serious Property Solutions, or SPS, will buy any house, any condition, any situation. So if you're looking into getting out of your mortgage or simply selling your house quick and you are near or around the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, give them a call at area code 469-609-7368, or you can reach out to them via their Facebook page at facebook.com/Serious Property Solutions and send them a message via FB Messenger or email them at oscar@seriouspropertysolutions.com. We would like to thank SPS for their support and supporting this podcast. Thank you so much. Go check them out.
The closer you got to me, the faster I try